Lime Rock's one of those tracks that you circle on your calendar every year because of the physical demands it puts on you.
Back-to-back race weekends are always very difficult. Going from Mosport to here, we didn't have any time whatsoever. We have no idea, if we got to stay here till 3 in the morning all night, these guys will dig in and they love it and they hate it. But again, at the end, the love takes over the hate.
Long days, setting up cameras, fighting the elements. I'm tired, my back hurts, physically exhausted.
About Lime Rock and how physically exhausting and hot it is. You need to push through that pain so that it's not a physical barrier when you're here racing.
Welcome to Lakeville, Connecticut as the Pirelli World Challenge returns to Lime Rock Park. Hi everybody, I'm Greg Creamer, joined by Calvin Fish. And folks, it's only been 6 days since we were north of the border at our most recent round at Canadian Tire Motorsport Park. And Cal, that is a fast-flowing 2.5-mile track. This weekend we come to a track that is basically sports cars' version of short track racing.
It really is. It's just like Bristol. So it's been a short week for the teams, a lot of fatigue there, and for these drivers, you're really going to have to be up on the wheel all day long. The racetrack keeps coming at you, no time to rest. And think about the engineers and the strategists. With this SprintX format, you've got to make the right call on that pit stop. With a short lap here, it's so easy to go down a lap. I don't think they're going to be breathing easy until they make that first decision.
Absolutely. And of course, at Canadian Tire Motorsport Park, the second round there, round 4 of the championship, was rained out and postponed. However, the race that did unfold there really saw some shakeups in the championship, and the biggest one coming from Michael Cooper and Jordan Taylor. Started dead last on the field, and through great strategy and great driving, found themselves with the win.
Well, they had a big day, but there's a couple of teams that had a bad day. One was Alvaro Parent. They got involved in another incident, 0 points scored there. And for Alex Ribera's Alferri Motorsports, should have been a big weekend for them on home turf. Alex had a great lap going in qualifying, then crashed the car. Couldn't see any further action that weekend, and they don't make it here, Greg. Really hurts them in the points.
Yeah, it's a huge hit. Now, another guy that did have a good weekend up at Canadian Tire Motorsport Park in terms of points was Pat Long, who there, along with York Bergmeister, ended up with a strong second-place finish. Well, Pat is absolutely on form here, so we're very fortunate to have him for our Porsche track preview onboard lap. Let's ride around this wicked quick place with our pole sitter.
Welcome to Lime Rock Park, the shortest lap on our calendar this year. It's so picturesque up here in Connecticut, but it really challenges you as a driver. This is Patrick Long with your Porsche track preview in Replay XD. Turn 1, you're quickly down on the front curb. It's Big Bend, it's a double apex. We call this turn 2, but technically it's the end of turn 1. You're really getting everything out of the traction using all the racetrack. Your one and only hard left-hand corner. It's a double apex again. Turn 3, bleeding onto the back straightaway. No name straightaway. It's not very straight, but it has a lot of heritage and history in this race world. Braking very hard into what I consider a little bit of a makeshift chicane. It's taking the way of uphill, which was a little bit of a safety issue. Bleeding the speed into the final section. This is the highest speed section of the racetrack. Big Bend, 4th gear, 92 miles an hour exit, using all the road into the downhill. It's a bit of a roller coaster ride here. Over 100 miles an hour, 5th gear, using all the racetrack on the exit. One lap goes by really quick here, but it's a rush and it's great to race at.
That is an incredible ride, no question. And of course, being a doubleheader weekend, we've already had one SprintX race unfold on this amazing circuit. Let's take a look at highlights from the first race of the doubleheader this weekend. And we are green racing here at Lime Rock Park as the field diving down into the turn called Big Bend. And look at Moran, he's done it before around the outside, Cal.
The two Atlanta boys, Spencer Pumpelly and Ryan Eversley, they slide into the 3rd and 4th position. Oh, Moran gets it really wrong up and over the curbs, and Spencer takes advantage. He gets the run. Ryan Eversley looking for a way through as well. Moran closes the door. Cooper's there to the outside. He goes to the outside of Eversley. What a move by Michael Cooper. But look at this. This is a battle for the lead. I'm not sure if that traffic again has played a part, but Spencer Pumpelly has caught Pat Long. Here comes Spencer. He's got to run. Pat Long's going to have to use his experience here to play the chess game in positioning that car in the right spot. He does it perfectly. Much to Magnus want to roll the dice and try and jump that Wright Motorsport car. John Wright will see if the Audi goes, and he'd probably just send his car. There they go. Magnus leaves the box first. John Wright and that team responds immediately. They had to go, otherwise they're going to lose track position.
There's the number 9 of Barnicoat, chased by the number 3 of O'Connell in the red Cadillac. So the Mercedes, the Cadillac, the Acura here, 3rd, 4th, 5th. Oh, and the number 3, that's Ricky Taylor running in the 5th spot.
Got the bump from Matt Halliday. He's not going to be happy about that, that's for sure.
Well, I'll tell you, for Ryan Dial right now, he's got a GT Cup, that black Ferrari leading this queue, then an Am-Am car in the Aston Martin. But look at this, just around the outside, Halliday swamps him, and beautiful read by Parent, and here comes Jordan Taylor up the inside, and suddenly Ryan Dial just lost 3 spots. And number 58, Wright Motorsports, earns another win in the Pirelli World Challenge. Porsche wins at Lime Rock Park. And there is a very, very happy crew. So at the end of round 5, take a look at the top 10 overall. What a day for the number 58 Porsche in the hands of Pat Long and world champion Mark Lieb.
Well, it extends Pat Long's championship lead, so the perfect day for he. Brent rebounds nicely. It was a very aggressive drive for him in the second stint there to get that podium run. And the Magnus Racing team, second. I think they'll do even better tomorrow. Dan Cameron just getting to grips with his Audi for the very first time.
Let's take a look at our Pro-Am finishes here. And again, a sweep for that number 58 Wright Motorsports team. They're clicking. And Monicalvo Sanchez second in the Nissan, third Sofronis and an aggressive Matt Halliday. And then right behind them, Pappas and Bleekemolen. And as usual, Bleekemolen putting down a good lap late in the going. He'll start well up the order as well. Now it's time to have a look at all of our Class Motul Pole Award winners. Here's a look at them specifically in the Pro-Am category. It will be the number 54 Black Swan Racing Mercedes in the hands once again of Jerome Bleekemolen, laying down a great lap there. But as we said, up front, overall, Wright Motorsports, that number 58 Porsche, will start on the overall pole, and that means we get to hear from him as Jeff Lepper caught up with him a bit earlier.
Well, here with your pole sitter today, Mark Lee. Mark, of course, Patrick Long setting the fastest race lap for you to start pole today. Strategy today for you and your co-driver?
Well, same as yesterday, I think. I mean, it's a different story today. So it's me starting the car, and yeah, it's going to be interesting to see how it is with all the cars at the beginning. Yesterday, I had a pretty good gap after the pit stop, so I was more relaxed than today. So it's going to be exciting for the start.
And it's about time to get it underway. Let's get to the front of the grid for that special command.
Drivers, start your engines.
That smile says it all, and he was here at the first race in 1957. So talk about history at a venue here. How special for him to be given this very, very special honor. Well earned indeed. This field has come to life, and of course they will be led out of pit lane onto the track by our official safety vehicle, the Cadillac ATS-V. Big thanks to Cadillac for their amazing support of this championship. And as they come out onto the front straight, Wright Motorsports and that number 58 Porsche, Pat Long, and reigning world prototype champion and Le Mans 24 winner is the number 58 of Mark Lieb behind the wheel. And they are heading into that first turn as we watch this field roll off. And Cal, with that, let's get to our Pirelli keys to the race. And one of them is on the outside of the front row, that number 4 Magnus Audi.
Well, you talked about a world prototype champion on the pole. We've got an American prototype champion currently sitting on the outside of that front row. That's the number 4 Magnus Racing car. They finished runner-up yesterday. It's going to be Dane Cameron starting the race today. And yesterday, talking to Spencer Pumpelly this morning, he said we kind of put a hybrid setup on with the inclement weather conditions. So he said we're going to be in better shape today. It's going to be dry. We can go back to what we ran on Tuesday at the test day. So they could be in good shape. And Dane's just coming off a touring car victory a little bit earlier in the day. So he's got to settle in and get into the rhythm of this one. But I think it'll be nice for him to at least get the formation lap, unlike yesterday when he was thrown in at the deep end.
Of course, see the number 43 Acura. They really found their form here yesterday with a great run. Looks like that car now is really starting to work, certainly here.
Yes, I mean, they're continuing to work on the development of this new NSX platform, and Lime Rock has always been kind to that team. And Ryan Eversley put in a brilliant qualifying run, and he and Tom Dyer had the car up into the top 5 at the finish yesterday and laid down the 5th fastest lap, so they're in good shape here.
And then number 31 Ferrari, we've seen the yellow car at a big crash and practice, really struggled in qualifying, but a great lap in the race, will start 3rd. That's a good one. And on station and ready to go, there's the official medical vehicle of the Pirelli World Challenge, the Cadillac Escalade. So now let's get down to the pit lane for an update after that first round of the championship with Jeff Lepper.
Yeah, talk about Johnny O'Connell, the incident they had in that number 3. The team worked here. The last team to leave Lime Rock Park here late last night was Cadillac Racing. They got him back underway. And the CRP Racing Mercedes, Ryan Dial, Daniel Morad, they missed the setup yesterday and weren't able to get a fast lap. So we'll have to see them come through the field as well, Greg.
Thanks very much, Jeff. Yeah, it's going to be fascinating to see. And I'll tell you, that number 54 always in the hands of Jerome Bleekemolen starting in this one. He will start that car 7th in the overall order on the pole and Pro-Am. Well, I'll tell you, we got some great racing to unfold. We're going to hopefully be ready to go green when we come back to Lime Rock Park.
The Pirelli World Challenge on CBS Sports Network is sponsored by Pirelli. Power is nothing without control. And by the Cadillac V-Series, the first ever 464 horsepower Cadillac ATS V Coupe and Sedan, and the 3rd generation 640 horsepower Cadillac CTS V Super Sedan.
Welcome back. This field ready to go green here at Lime Rock Park. Here's a quick look at our quad box featuring our great replay XD cameras. Just a few of the cameras you're going to be able to enjoy the onboards with. This field starting to pack up as they head through West Bend, Cal.
Yeah, this start is going to be so important. Track position is critical with these GT3 cars. If you're behind, you get that aero wash through these high-speed corners, so the drivers know that. We'll try to be a little bit aggressive here, I think, on the start.
All right, safety cars in the pits. We're in the VP Racing Fuels acceleration zone. It's down to our starting driver. That's Mark Lieb on the inside in that 58 Wright Motorsports Porsche. And a big fan out at the back as we are racing. And look at the Ferrari way down to the inside.
Wow, they're fast, and Lieb gets turned. There's contact there. Looked like Jordan Taylor has gone to the lead, and the 2 car gets clouded. Championship leader 58 is in trouble.
The number 2 Mercedes as well. And the number 30 Momo Ferrari from the Pro-Am or the Am-Am category is as well. Another look at it, Cal.
They try to go 4 wide down this front straightaway. It's Nicolo Scuro on the inside. He's in the grass. He gets into the side of Mark Lieb, turns him hard in the barrier. He comes across the racetrack, takes out Ryan Dial. Major carnage here down into Big Bend.
Boy, I'll tell you, it's huge development in terms of points and certainly production here in this one. And there's the number 2 Audi, or excuse me, the Mercedes just trying to limp around. But that number 58 Wright Motorsport Porsche broken. Look at that right front corner.
Yeah, Pat Long is going to be hating life right now. I mean, they had such a strong run yesterday, but they cannot afford to be having these DNFs and 0-point scores. Remember, in this form of competition, you've got to do 50% of the race distance or even score any points. And with the depth of the field, they'll probably be out of the points anyway.
Yeah, absolutely. So obviously under a full course caution here, as have to get those cars cleaned up and moved. And if you look down, you see on the right of the flag down underneath, there's Spencer Pumpelly up in the Magnus pit wall, who very interested, obviously, as to what unfolded here. It looked like that number 4 Magnus Audi was able to skate through.
Yeah, he was, but I think the Acura really made a bold move. But it looks like Cameron did indeed hang on to that second spot as it went side by side through Big Bend. But certainly Jordan Taylor had an excellent start there. Yep. Immediately leapt to the outside, and suddenly it was 4 abreast. I think the 31 car is right in that scuffle as well, Greg.
Yeah, and there's damage to the left front corner of that 31. I can see some smoke emanating off that car, but certainly some drivers able to take advantage of it. As you pointed out, the number 43 up now into 3rd, Barnicoat and Parent. And the Capex McLaren up into 4th. The Bentley of Vincent Abril and Adderley Fong now sitting in the 5th spot. And Bleekemolen has the number 54 Mercedes up into 6th overall. You can see the smoke coming off of that left front corner, I think, of that Ferrari.
Let's take another look at it as we come to green. They go 4 wide. You see Lieber's concerned about Dane Cameron to his side, but on the inside of him, there's Nicolo Scuro. He gets into the right rear quarter panel of Mark Lieb, turns him around hard into the tire barrier. He flies across the racetrack. Here comes Ryan Dial after a poor qualifying position. He gets involved. Rest of the field streams through, but I think there was enough room, Greg, for these guys to get through there, but I think Mark Lieb just jinked a little bit. You can see that the chaos ensued from that point forward.
There's the 31, and now they're addressing that left front corner. See damage to that tire, certainly. Well, the interesting thing too, as now you see Dial has brought the DeVilbiss Mercedes down into pit lane. That 31 Ferrari had a problem and had an off, got into the tires early in the weekend, and so just the fact that they were able to make that first race yesterday was impressive. Then throwing a lap down good enough for a 3rd starting spot. And they're having a good look at this car and concerned about something at that right rear, obviously. All right, well, as we continue under caution, as they're just cleaning up the incident, we hope to be going back to green soon. We're going to take a quick break as well.
The Pirelli World Challenge on CBS Sports Network is sponsored by Motul, official lubricant of the Pirelli World Challenge. And by Porsche, there is no substitute.
Welcome back. Lights out on the Cadillac ATS-V safety car. We're ready to go racing as the number 8 bringing the field up to the line from the lead. Jordan Taylor is going to bring him around here, but he has got one hungry Audi behind it, the field into the VP Racing Fuels acceleration zone.
Well, these guys know how to race against each other. They do it all season long. They're kind of coming in here just for these SprintX rounds. Dane Cameron trying to put the move on. Jordan Taylor, who got that brilliant start.
Boy, look at Perrant. He goes early. And look at the Bentley. Huge move. Look at
Cameron
this.
protects to the inside. Eversley's had another good run. Perrant's looking to the inside of the Acura. Jordan Taylor, nice restart once again. Sweeps to the lead easily. Cameron's having to defend here.
Well, for Dane Cameron, he knows recently that what defending at Lime Rock Park is all about. He survived, 30 minutes in a touring car race a little while ago to win it.
Oh,
and he also has track condition.
Bleekemolen looking for a run there.
Ooh, so close there. And the number 3, Ricky Taylor, trying to get the nose through there, trying to make up some ground. Taylor trying to
stuff
thread
into the brake zone for the uphill. Taylor trying to rebound from that incident yesterday with Matt Halliday that took out the Velocity red Cadillac. There you see him, the number 3 car, chasing after Jerome Bleekemolen.
Through West Bend, these laps happening so incredibly quick here. And now at green flag racing for the first complete lap. And to give you an idea of what kind of times they're turning, look at that, Jordan Taylor turning a 53.3. That tells you how fast these laps unfold here.
Yeah, we'll have to see how Cameron can respond. It's going to take him a little adjustment when you switch from a touring car to one of these high-powered GT3 machines. It looks like the gap has settled a little bit. I think this next lap will be a true indicator of who has what pace right now.
The one thing that might help Dane out here is these things have near prototypical grip from the aero, and he knows how to deal with that.
He certainly does, and as I mentioned before we went to restart, these guys are battling out for another championship this year, so good intensity. I saw them chatting on the pre-grid, so a lot of smiles there. They're enjoying this weekend.
Here's a look at the number 93, again, Mark Wilkins in the team Acura NSX GT3 from Real Time Racing. A bit further back in the order, they dropped the spot, actually now sits in the 10th spot. And there's a look at the 16. That is the car that currently sits 3rd in the Pro-Am category. It's the good run, Jan Halen, having a superb run in that team car to the number 58, and it was 2nd on the grid in the Pro-Am category. It slipped 1 spot.
Yeah, saw Jan last night at the restaurant when we were having dinner. He said, I'm loving this championship. He said, it's so intense. You just get out there and you're immediately in the mix, and you fight hard for every position.
That's what a driver wants to have and enjoys, certainly here. Look back behind them, there's the number 14. That's in the hands of Matt Halliday. He'll turn it over to James Safronis. The AM part of the Pro-Am equation in those cars. Right behind him, young Alec Udell.
Oh, big run there by Halen.
Yeah, he had one.
Trying to get to the inside of the Bentley. He may have position. It's going to be tight.
That's for the lead in the class if he makes it work. And Jan experienced enough to let him ease back. Well, that's for 2nd in the class, actually, behind the 54 of Jerome Bleekemolen that just went out of frame on your left.
It's allowed Mark Wilkins there, that number 3 machine, 93 machine, to close in a little bit. Started from 12th on the grid, sitting in the 10th position. See Jordan Taylor settling in, sets a new fast race lap at a 52.279. Cameron at a 52.417. So got about a 10.5 on Dane here in the early stages.
And I'll tell you, that lap by Jordan Taylor is with 1/1000 shy of the fast lap in yesterday's race that they've already put in here at this stage. You surprised to see that the number 9, obviously trying to get around the 43 Acura, but that's a car that dominated here last year, the McLaren, and just drifting backward a little bit at this point in terms of 1st and 2nd place.
Well, it's just a consequence of a poor qualifying run yesterday. It was damp conditions. The McLaren seems to be really good in the dry or really good in the extreme weather, but not in those damp conditions. So they got hurt a little bit by that. They had a nice run yesterday with Ben Barnicoat starting. He qualified the car, and then Alvaro really turning the screws down when he jumped in and made some aggressive moves and got a podium run. But it's just hard to follow here, Greg, with these high downforce machines, as you mentioned. When you're following closely behind, you just get a huge aero wash through the high-speed corners, through West Bend, through the downhill, so it's hard to do much.
And behind the 54 in Pro-Am, Jan Halen able to make the pass and sneak around on Andre Coutu who is filling in, obviously, for the normal Alexandria Pirelli, who is not here this weekend, so that's a change of position in Pro-Am at this stage.
Yeah, busy weekend. A lot of the Europeans are racing right now. The race is underway at the Nürburgring, the 24-hour race. So we got Jörg Bergmeister over there, Marco Seefried, Imperatori. That's why you're seeing guys like Dane Cameron and some of the others in here just for a single event.
Here's a look at your leader in Pro-Am right now, Jerome Bleekemolen in the Black Swan Mercedes AMG GT3. Tim Pappas will take it to the finish. And he leads in that category in Pro-Am, up front and overall. It continues to be the number 8 Cadillac of Jordan Taylor. But that margin, well, I'll tell you, it is as tight as it can get, less than a second and a half as we step away for just a moment here. Early in the going in SprintX at Lime Rock Park.
The Pirelli World Challenge on CBS Sports Network is sponsored by Nissan. Innovation that excites. By Case-It. Products to work smarter, not harder. Learn more at caseit.com. And by Optima Batteries, the ultimate power source.
Attacking the climbing S's here at Lime Rock Park, the Vector Blue Cadillac in the hands of Jordan Taylor, number 8. Whistling now through West Bend as it heads toward the diving turn here in the 6th round of the Pirelli World Challenge SprintX Championships. Leading in front of the number 4 Magnus Audi in the hands of Dane Cameron. A little bit of traffic there in one of our GTS machines, and that might just help Cameron get a little bit of a margin here. There is the number 55 Dream Racing Lamborghini Super Trofeo GT Cup category leader, having a nice run.
Behind the wheel right now, and then you can see Dial trying to cut through this pack, and it's even hard to get around a car that's in a different class to you around this racetrack. It's a real bull ring right there. You're going to just lose the front downforce on the car. That means you can't get the power early enough down this front straightaway into our brake zone down into turn 1.
Oh, in a moment there is the number 90, one of our GTS.
Cameron's closer to Jordan than he was on the previous lap. That lead is now down to 0.6 of a second. It was up about a second and a half. And Jordan's hitting traffic in the wrong spot once again. Clears him nicely. This may hurt Cameron a little bit on the run through on the front straightaway. So there's an ebb and flow to this. You just hope as a driver there's an even match across the whole race distance in terms of how you catch the traffic.
Well, Dane able to definitely close up there as they were working through. That's the leader in the GTS category, the 017. Trent Hinman behind the wheel. Adam Merzon will be taking over in that car. But yeah, that has definitely brought the number 4 a lot closer to it. Dane Cameron much closer to that rear wing.
He settled in a little bit. I mean, I think yesterday during that touring car race and jumping in the middle of the race, Greg, that was really difficult, but he's now adjusted. He got a test day here, he got a little bit of time on Tuesday with the team, and just settled in nicely. He's looking for 4 podiums in a row here on a busman's holiday, a weekend off for him.
This is the turn right here. I mean, the speed that they plummet down this hill at in the diving turn. Look at the runoff down there, Cal. That's daunting.
It really is, and it's hard to believe that these guys are kind of running at clear of traffic right now. That's hard to find around this racetrack. Surprised that Parent couldn't hang on to Tom Dyer here, so this is a great performance we said at the off for the Acura here this weekend. Bentley's always strong at Lime Rock Park, as Fong's done a nice job with the 88 machine.
Continues to be your leader in the Pro-Am category, Jerome Bleekemolen, as he works through. But look behind, nice job by Jan Halen right there in that number 16 Wright Motorsports Porsche. Not too far drift. Take a look at last lap times for those cars. Looks like a 52.2 for Mercedes, and for Halen, they actually got caught up in a little bit of traffic there and lost some ground. So we look at the times there, but he's doing a nice job. A nice resurgent drive here, it looks like, by Ricky Taylor, who's been able to sneak around the number 78, 3rd in Pro-Am Bentley, in the hands of Coutu.
Halen clearing some traffic on this front straightaway. Then there's Ricky Taylor, then the 78 car. Second of the 2 Bentleys. Big blow to Johnny O'Connell's championship charge yesterday as well with that incident late in the going. He was pretty fired up, I heard, after the checkered flag there in terms of a car that's not involved in the same class having contact. But I looked at the video with the driver stewards here this morning, and it seemed like Matt Halliday really did have made his presence felt on the inside of Ricky Taylor when they did come together. So there was no call on it, no avoidable contact call. So it's one of those racing deals, but hurts them badly in the points.
And Definitely does, and it's a hunt. The one thing with this way this championship lays out now, you've got the Sprint Championship, you've got the SprintX Championship, then there's the combined championship for the pro category cars, and obviously Johnny O'Connell coming in here, he and Ricky Taylor 5th in the Sprint Championship, but when you take a look at the overall, 6th there. So I mean, he was top 5 potential for each of these championships still early in the season, and took literally a big hit yesterday.
Bleekemolen now starting to show his pace. Just ran a 52.7 compared to 53.1 for the leaders. Leaders ran in the low 52s earlier in the race. Both Cameron and Jordan Taylor, who currently has the fastest race lap at a 52.27. And I think with this racetrack, Greg, even though the Pirelli P0s do a great job, you're going to get tire degradation here just because you're leaning on the same tires all of the time.
Talked to Randy Pope earlier in the weekend.
Ooh, that was a bad corner there. Wilkins is going to get a run here.
Sure is. See if he's able to do anything with it here.
Quite close enough to Couture.
I was talking to Randy Pope, a 4-time champion. He's got lots of laps here. Who's coming back to run in the World Challenge, and he said the neat thing about this place is after a race you just flip the tires because the insides are still new.
Team owners love it. Yeah.
But as we're watching this great run here right now by Tom Dyer in the number 43 real-time Acura, let's check in with his co-driver down in pit lane with Jeff.
Well, Ryan Eversley, it's been a trying year for you, but great run here this week, and your co-driver's doing an awesome job.
Yeah, this real-time Acura NSX has been really fast all week. We had a good test on Tuesday. We took some of the stuff we learned with the TLX last year and applied it to our setup here, and it seems to be working really well. Mosport, we didn't have the outright pace, but here we seem to be pretty strong. So Thomas out there doing a great job, and just a huge testament to everybody at Acura, the factory building such a great street car that we can then take against the best sports cars in the world, and seems to be doing pretty good.
Any idea when you're pitting yet? Did you guys Rochambeau for it?
Well, because of the strategy now with the yellows, if you wait till the last second, it's better than being early. So we'll probably run it out, but you never know these things. We might throw a Hail Mary, and maybe Tom will stop hogging the car, and I'll get to go play.
Well, Ryan Eversley trying to get ready here to get strapped into that NSX.
Thanks very much, Jeff. I don't know what kind of Hail Mary you throw when you're running in a podium position here. I think it's going to be pretty much follow the leader. And we're going to step away because we are closing in with just a little over a couple of minutes before that pit stop window opens. We'll be right back.
The Pirelli World Challenge on CBS Sports Network is sponsored by Replay XD. Life's in HD. Replay it. And by Honda Performance Development, Honda's North American racing company.
All right, folks, down the hill comes the number 8 Cadillac, and the flag is flying, and the board is being shown here. You can see it at start-finish. Everybody has to drive by the pit open board one time at speed under green, and then you can head into the pit. So essentially the window's open, Cal. Everybody has to go by that one time on track, and then it starts. And we'll see who decides to roll the dice a little bit, and now pit early.
Yeah, I think it's just going to hurt you, though, because of the shortness of the lap, 52-second laps. If you stop even in the pro category, you're going to go down a minimum of laps. So people will be ready for anything that may happen. You see Spencer Pumpelly kitted and ready to go. John Potter had a great run here yesterday. He's behind him there. But here's the traffic right now. Jordan Taylor just trying to thread his way through that. I think you'll see most of these front-running teams try and wait towards the end of that pit stop window.
Watching.
78 car really wide. Seen this before. He's struggling getting in there. Wilkins has a run, but I don't think he has the horsepower potentially to get a run there. And you see Matt Halliday. He's getting feisty. We saw that yesterday with the contact with Ricky Taylor. He's willing to stick it down the inside.
That's the second time we've seen Couture just sort of overrun the entrance to that climbing S. It's just indication of how hard he's pushing at this point. Of course, the team car, the pro car, up front right now, and having a strong run in the hands of Adderley Fong. And Couture just trying to make something happen here, but maybe just pushing a little too hard.
Yeah, well, he's just probably into the ABS. You don't see lock up because the ABS is kicking in, but it just means you can't tuck into the corner. You're not slowed down enough even with the ABS working. So he's just pushing. He's feeling the pressure from behind. And I think this is really stymieing Mark Wilkins' potential lap times. He's quite a few tenths off of his teammate Tom Dyer, who's running in clean air. So that's just an effect that these GT3 cars have on each other when you're in close proximity.
That's a very good point to make about the ABS.
Oh, that was hairy. Dropping a wheel there on the turn into West Bend.
Yeah, Woo. He's obviously giving it everything. And then a little bit, that front end now starting to come loose. That had happened before. Now he's trying to get a run, get that traffic. That's the Cameron Racing BMW, one of our GTS cars. This might have an opportunity here for the driver of that number 93, Mark Wilkins. Nope, not quite close enough. But I just want to say that's a good point with the ABS. It isn't a panacea. I mean, you can't just go in way too fast. You're gonna, you're not gonna make the corner. It may stop you from locking up, but you're still gonna overrun and possibly go off track.
Absolutely. It's not a total safety net. It's just an aid. If you get in there too deep, there's a limit to what the car and the tire can do in terms of stopping.
Quick look, we saw at the 77, that black and yellow Porsche, as it comes up the hill, and you can see a little damage there. Now the number 75 Nissan in the hands of Frankie Montecalvo and Ricardo Sanchez. They've made an early call to the pits here, running in the Pro-Am category.
And a car that's been really quick here this weekend. The 93 car, they're going to roll the dice a little bit. Pit Mark Wilkins early.
I wonder if that may not have been what we were just discussing, that Wilkins just could not get by the 78, even though the 78 was overrunning the chicanes a little bit. Jeff?
I think you guys called it perfectly. They're stuck in traffic. Go ahead and bring them in. They started to scramble here really quick as they made that call. So once again, Mark Wilkins coming out, Peter Cox going in to finish it out in the NSX.
Well, if there's no yellow, then it makes sense. Do you know what I mean? It's just a gamble. If there's no yellow happens, then if you're stuck in traffic, make the pit stop, clear the traffic, try and come out in clean air, and maybe Peter Cox lay down some really quick lap times and take advantage of that clean air.
Again, 60 seconds minimum. If you come out short, and it has happened a few times this year for some teams, you then have to go out, get back up to green flag running, and then do a drive-through. The car makes its way out. They believe they've timed it right. You want to hit it at about 60.2 seconds.
That'd be ideal. Everyone, after VIR, we had numerous penalties. We actually saw one yesterday, a big one for Brian Sellers and Johnny Kane. They got clobbered by missing it by about 3 seconds. So teams are still trying to cut it and get it wrong now and again. But here we see Jordan Taylor. He's got a better run through traffic. He's extended the gap. Just over a second last time across the stripe. Both these cars running very similar lap times throughout the middle part of this stint.
We are now just past the halfway point of the race, which means just past the halfway point of the pit window. So probably they don't want to take this more than maybe 3 more laps possibly, as the number 88, first in the lead group to duck in, Cal.
Yeah, and this is where it's really key. We saw it yesterday. Pumpelly was all over Pat Long's tail when they came into pit lane, and Magnus tried to get the jump. So if you've got a car that's maybe, got the traction, say the Cadillac comes in front of the 4 car, and they play a little conservative, they're going to take 62 seconds. And if Magnus cut it a little bit finer, if they're coming right in on his tail, you can actually leapfrog in pit lane by just cutting that pit lane delta a little bit tighter than your competition and get the lead.
Well, and Cameron's been able to close that margin up once they got in some clear track.
That's exactly what the Magnus team and Lars, their engineer, will be looking for. Stay on him, Dane, stay on him. See if we can work some magic in pit lane.
They continue on down. You can see the margin back now to Tom Dyer. Last time by it was about 4 seconds.
Traffic right there.
Oh,
Dane Cameron looking for a way through. Look at this. Crazy stuff here. Cameron looking for just that slightest opening.
And there was no way he was going to get trapped behind that GTS car. Cameron just sort of threading the needle and didn't lose it a bit, obviously.
And this is one of those scenarios, and they'll leave out to the driver the last couple of laps. Like if you see the leader in heavy traffic, we see Johnny Kane now bringing his McLaren in to turn it over to Brian Sellers.
Jeff?
All 3 of the K-Pax McLaren 650S come in at the same time, led by Alvaro Parent. Ben Barnacourt getting into the car now. Brian Sellers getting into the number 9, or number 6, and then Mike Hedlund getting into the number 98.
And you can see how quick they can get these driver changes done, but they do need to hold them for just a little bit here. There is a look at our leader. So Jordan Taylor brings the number 8 Cadillac into the pits. Over the wall comes Michael Cooper.
4 car stays out. 4 car stays out. It's going to be all about the traffic.
Let's get back down to Jeff.
Well, you got that right. Ricky Taylor comes down on pit lane, the leader here. Michael Cooper going to see if he can have one of those superb drives again to come back up through the field here. But the driver change, business as usual down here in Cadillac Racing.
This is going to come down to the in lap for Dane Cameron and the out lap for Michael Cooper. Got to wait for everyone to cycle through, but we're running out of time now. Just a minute and a half on that pit stop window. Crew is pumped up. Great job by Jordan. Great start. Great restart. Nice controlled run.
Yeah, well, being able to sneak through that first turn carambolage, and here he releases Michael Cooper onto the track. And be interesting to see what unfolds here. So he has been able to maintain the margin. I think one thing cycle here, it'll be interesting to see what Dane's been able to do. Once
that
again,
in-lap is going to be critical if he didn't get any traffic, and Michael's got to get into a rhythm. So you'd have to figure that a guy who's been out there for his stint.
All right, Magnus has now made the call into the pits. Jeff?
Yeah, Pumpelly into the car already. They're getting the final hookups. The doors closed. They're just waiting on the time, getting ready to send him as his teammate John Potter and Andrew Davis right behind them doing their driver change. We'll see, like you said, who got the fastest in and out lap and how close they can get this pit delta, Cal.
Watching for the release. There he goes. The question is, where is the number 8? Down the hill they come.
I think Magnus is going to get it.
I think so. A little bit of traffic there impeding Cooper. Does Spencer Pumpelly. He's got to have been able to clear out. We'll see it right here. He has.
They just cut it a little bit closer, and if Cameron had a good in-lap and Cooper didn't have a good out-lap, that's the difference. That is fantastic stuff. And that's just with the 4-car rolling the dice that little bit further. And the driver's executing. Awesome job.
Fantastic. Magnus Racing, the crew on its game, and the drivers doing a superb job. They have assumed the lead here after the pit stops. We're going to step away. Don't go anywhere. Lots of racing yet to unfold.
The Pirelli World Challenge on CBS Sports Network is sponsored by Bentley, official luxury vehicle of the Pirelli World Challenge. By BRM. And by Eibach, the world leader in high-performance suspension.
Welcome back, everybody. The lead battle, fierce and in traffic. The leader, the Magnus Audi, catching traffic and getting balked. Now doubly caught up. However, behind him, Cooper and the Cadillac Cal has nowhere to go either.
Oh, Spencer, wow, the seas parted nicely there for Spencer. That was wild times there and trying to hang on to this lead. You got to fight for these wins at SprintX. What a drive this is.
You know, I've seen Spencer up on the wheel before, but this season, this opportunity in these cars, I'm not sure I've ever seen him better. He just is absolutely picking these cars up and ringing them here, and that was a stellar reaction in traffic.
That was superb. We saw it at the last round in Canadian Tire Motorsports Park, one of the few guys who was making some moves. Magnus got their first podium in World Challenge competition yesterday. Can they follow it up with victory here today?
And Michael Cooper, no slouch, obviously, and he is going to react here. You see on that Bentley behind that had that grill cover coming loose again while they were in the stop. They just ripped that off. They didn't want any kind of a distraction for the drivers at this stage. Now some traffic coming up on the back of one of our GT Cup cars. Nice job there as Marco Radisek just opening the door way wide in that Ferrari Challenge Evo machine and letting them slide through unimpeded.
Well, we talk about the drivers looking way ahead. We also got to, thank the drivers and give them kudos for looking way behind, because these cars come up on you quickly, as we see Dane Cameron cooling off after a really hot stint. Been a busy day for him.
No kidding. And the one thing we've heard some of the drivers talk about at other tracks, 25, 30 minutes in the car, really not breaking much of a sweat. At this place, 10 laps around here and you're sweating. It's that fierce, and the loads you're constantly under.
It's awesome. I mean, you're up on your toes. It's mentally exhausting in terms of dealing with the traffic. You talk about the high G loads in the corners. See Spencer there, a little twitch there as he gets on the brakes. They made some setup changes from yesterday, so we should be in good shape. But again, it's a different racetrack to the one they tested with on Tuesday when they got that dry running.
Looking back in the order, just to update you, Pro-Am category still led by the 54 after the change. Tim Pappas now behind the wheel, right behind him on track. That is the 16 Porsche, now in the hands of Michael Shine, who was wickedly quick in those cars as well. And that number 78 Bentley, one of the reasons that it's driving so fiercely and trying not to just move out of the way because it costs him time, is because he's third on a potential podium, and not far behind is that 75 Nissan.
This is fantastic racing here. I love Lime Rock. It's a bull ring. It's intense.
Folks, if you're enjoying this racing, like we certainly are, and you want to be in the know of what unfolds throughout the season, Best way to do it is through social media. First place to go always is the Pirelli World Challenge site at Rd.5+6.com. You can get great video content there, including links to live webcasts of these races if you can't join us at the site. You can also, of course, go to Facebook, where you just need to search the Pirelli World Challenge Championship fan page, or on Twitter, just look for the handle @WC Racing. And as always, for all things racing, please take a moment and check out Motor Trend On Demand. It includes the archives of all the Pirelli World Challenge races. You can start your free trial at motortrendondemand.com today. Right now on track, Spencer is just hooked up. You can see the margin. He continues to stretch over Michael Cooper.
Yeah, we haven't seen anyone dip into the 52s here in recent history of this race, and Spencer just laid one down. 52.97 on his last lap, so he's got pace in that Audi. But Cooper will be known that the 58 car has had a bad day. There's a big points day for Michael Cooper overall, and for he and Jordan in this SprintX Championship as well.
And we've had a change in the Pro-Am category as Michael Shine in that 16 Wright Motorsports Porsche now up into 10th overall. It's slipped by Tim Pappas in the Black Swan Mercedes, the number 54. So those guys trying to salvage something here for the Wright Motorsports team. There you see Cadillac coming through, the red number 3. Here comes the number 6 McLaren, now in the hands of Brian Sellers, sitting in the 8th spot at this point.
And after that pit stop cycle, the two Acuras got both their cars now up into the top 6, so pitting Wilkins a little bit earlier and getting him out of that traffic, it has played out to their advantage. They've gained some spots.
Yeah, well done on top of the pit box there. So quickly in GT Cup, your leader continues to be the 55 Lamborghini.
A quick look here, Greg, at the pit stop times. See where everyone's stacked up. Jordan Taylor was on pit lane for a 60.8 seconds.
That's pretty good.
So let's have a look here for the 44. What do you see there on the screen? 44. 60.5. So they gained 3/10 on the pit stop exchange, and I think more of it came down at the in and out laps.
You're absolutely right. There's your new leader in Pro-Am, the Wright Motorsports Porsche, in the hands of Michael Shine. And he is a New England native. New York is his home, having a great run up here in northeastern Connecticut.
The Pirelli World Challenge on CBS Sports Network is sponsored by Audi. Visit AudiUSA.com or schedule a test drive today. And by AFE Power, the official intake system and air filter of the Pirelli World Challenge.
Welcome back, everybody. A look here at what is turning into a pretty decent battle for the third and final podium spot in the overall and pro category here at Lime Rock Park for the Pirelli World Challenge SprintX Championships. And right now it is the number 9 Alvaro Ben Barnicoat has taken over in that car, and he's got that position, but he's got a guy hounding him right now, and it's one of the Bentley boys.
Vincent Abrilla's having a nice run here this afternoon. But Ben Barnicoat, what a joy he is driving our paddock. Really nice young man. Had a single-seater career going, and then turned his attention to sports cars, and he has been a great match and fit with Alvaro Parent in that car.
He really has, and the incident up obviously at Canadian Tire Motorsport Park that took them out of the race, he was hit from behind, nothing that he did wrong at all, and I think everybody is very, very pleased with his performance behind the wheel of this McLaren.
Yeah, and Alvaro wanted him. He saw what he could do in Europe last year when he got the drive from McLaren. He said, this will be a great teammate for me. And it's certainly proven to be the case. And he's loving these racetracks, Greg, when you go from VIR to Canadian Tire Motorsports Park and Lime Rock. This is old school. Drove in here this morning. It was just a joy to come into this beautiful, lush facility. And congratulations to Skip Barber and his whole team for what they've done here and maintained a beautiful racetrack.
A very special place indeed. And yeah, I mean, Alvaro and Ben had done one race before, I think, in Europe in one of these cars, and Alvaro just said, yeah, he's got it. And that's impressive enough to just get invited to do it. And then the performances that Ben has been able to put on here, just absolutely rock steady in that car. Boy, and these guys are going to catch some traffic here in short order. Not too far behind them is Eversley, now behind the wheel of that number 43. And so this traffic is this battle for third is running up on.
Cooper had to get through, and he lost a 1.5 seconds in one lap to Spencer Pumpelly. So Pumpelly's lead right now is up to just under 5 seconds. So he's doing the business here this afternoon. Spoke to Andrew Davis, John Potter's teammate this afternoon. He said, I think Dane and Spencer may have something for everyone today. They could get a victory, and prophetic so far.
And here's a great look at the real-time racing number 43 Acura NSX GT3, and the reason Callis is carrying our iBox suspension cam, I'll tell you, on a track like this with these long loads in the corners, it works.
Yeah, they had a nice run going. Tom Dyer was in a nice solid 3rd position, and they now have dropped down to the 5th spot, so see what happened there with their pit stop. 3 cars on pit lane. Oh yeah, 68.2 seconds, Greg. That's where they lost all that time, just looking at the pit stop summary here. 68.2 compared to 60 in the 60-second range for some of the leaders, 60.8 for our leader.
And I didn't hear from race control what the reason was, but the number 14, the Global Motorsports Group Pro-Am car, James Safronis, now behind the wheel, had to do a stop-and-go penalty, not a drive-through, a stop-and-go. Not exactly positive what that was for. They did say that they are backing up on racetrack, so is what the penalty was for. So that's unfortunate. Obviously, it's going to cost them, considering that they are contenders this season, certainly in both the SprintX and the overall championship in the Pro-Am category.
Looking at the message center, it says the first driver of the car 14, which was Matt Halliday, will need to report to the stewards after the race, so something was going on there.
So the penalty is served. The discussion with race control, maybe not yet quite so much, but as we're watching Spencer Pumpelly continuing to just throw down some great laps here, the margin now up to over 4.5 seconds back to the number 8 Cadillac, Jeff. And Dane Cameron did a superb job, especially that in-lap.
Yeah, not only superb drive at the start, but your in-lap was amazing to be able to nip that Cadillac for the lead.
Yeah, I think our Audi's quite good on the long run. So Jordan got away a little bit at the start, and then we kind of reeled him in. We were kind of just hanging out. The cars are faster in different places, so it made it a little bit tricky. And I was telling them I was just about to queue up on the radio and say, if we stop on a different lap, I'm sure we can jump them because I think we're faster. And then they came in that lap, and then they called me in the next. So I tried to do as best an in-lap as I could to try to buy Spencer a bit of time. I think we pushed the pit stop window pretty tight to make sure we were right on the money there and came out in front. So Spencer's doing an awesome job now. And I think our long run pace is helping us pull away a little bit. So no, a really great day so far. Hopefully we can hang on to the end. But thanks very much to John Potter and Magnus Racing for having me out for the weekend.
Yeah, they're going to be pumped up if they can grab their first victory, Jeff. Great performance so far, but a long way to go. It's a long 11 minutes around this racetrack to survive.
And you saw during that interview behind Dane, you could see Andrew Davis chatting with a guy that if you race an Audi, he's your best friend, a guy named Brad Kettler, and Audi Customer Sport Racing. Some amazing stuff. We're going to step away right now. It is at Audi Customer Sport Team, Magnus Racing leading at Lime Rock Park.
The Pirelli World Challenge on CBS Sports Network is sponsored by VP Racing Fuels. Our passion is your performance. And by Dodge. Domestic, not domesticated.
Bodywork shedding here on one of the Bentleys as it heads down into turn 1. That is the car that has just taken over second place in the Pro-Am category, the number 78 in the hands of Yufeng Loa. And of course that front end had started to come apart already, and then you get an aero wash and a little bit of, well, it's the little RG and a bit of Bargy maybe, but still in all, just pounced on the opportunity and shot through. And you know what? The 75 Nissan snuck by as well and picked up third in Pro-Am.
Yeah, it's an amazing battle here, and look at this. A lap ago, Ryan Eversley nearly got inside Vincent Abril on the exact same piece of racetrack. He jokes to the outside this time, thinks better of it. Abril just put him up and over the curb on the previous lap there when Ryan tried to make the move. He's going to try and get a clean run on the front straightaway.
And all that traffic, Alvaro Parent has been, or Ben Barnicoat has been able to just check out here. I mean, they were all over the back of Barnicoat, and now he's got 13 seconds. I'll make that 2 seconds in hand. Back now to Abril, and it was like 0.2 of a second officially.
Look at Eversley.
Yeah, he's racing.
That Acura is hooked up. He's able to use those curbs. Oh, there's really good racing here. Ryan will be loving this one.
And Peter Cox is joining this fight as well. He is right there.
Wow, what a run there for the 93 team. Made that early start for Wilkins, got Peter into some clean air. He's running fast lap times as well. These Acuras are coming alive.
Right now, that battle of 3 cars stuck behind Tim Pappas now in 4th in the Pro-Am category. That black 54 Mercedes. That car has got pretty good launch and torque off the corners.
It's the best run I've seen from Peter Cox this year in his World Challenge campaign. Ian Wilkins finished in the top 10 up in Canada. This is a great run by that group right now. Brill clears Pappas. Eversley goes with him. Can Cox do the same? Yes, he does. Nice job by Tim there, just opening the door up for this battle.
And we're getting a report there may be a drive-through for the 78 Bentley that just had that big move up into 2nd in class. But with the bodywork flying and the like, obviously maybe a touch that the stewards decided was a little bit too much.
Well, that front grille surrounded come loose a little bit earlier in the race, but certainly the fender damage probably came from contact. Things settling down just a little bit. So relatively speaking here at Lime Rock.
Exactly. Nothing ever settles for long. Barnicoat last time by had about 3 seconds on this battle in the number 9 McLaren back to Abril in the 88 Bentley. And there you see Barnicoat, real aggressive move down to the inside. Here's a look at the inside they're talking about.
Oh, he just sort of like pushed Tim out of the way.
You can see that left front got all loosened up at the time.
I'd have been proud of it back in my European race day. Don't like that sort of rubbing these days anymore. Stewards are on top of it.
And 78 has, in fact, done the drive-through and is back out on track. Nice read of traffic there by the number 88 of Vincent Abril. He just lifted for a second and was able to sneak down the inside cleanly of the Tool Racing GT Cup Porsche, as both of the Acuras able to slide through as well. So, yeah, we're going to take our last break before the checkered flag. Stay with us, folks. I have a feeling that this battle is nowhere near settled.
The Pirelli World Challenge on CBS Sports Network is sponsored by Forge Line, American-made forged performance and racing wheels, and by Mercedes-Benz AMG.
Spencer Pumpelly and Magnus Audi having a great run here at Lime Rock Park. The margin now up to almost 6 seconds in hand. Back to the number 8 Cadillac in the hands of Michael Cooper. And this has just been a race I think we talked about at the top of the show. Execution at this place, because of the short, fast laps, is paramount. And these guys today, Cal, in that number 4 Magnus Audi camp have executed to perfection.
They had a good test day. Spencer believed that they had good balance in the race car. Dane Cameron was just getting to grips with that Audi. He's done a few laps in one of the older machines a couple of years ago, but his first experience with this type of car. So he had to find his groove, and we saw that a little bit yesterday when he initially got out there up against Mark Lee, brought it home second, so it was a nice run, but they felt they had more in hand for today, and Dane kept the pressure on Jordan Taylor. They leapfrogged them in that pit stop exchange, and Spencer is just driven away from the pack right now.
Yeah, really good run, and we've got some podium battlers coming up to. Yeah, that's
Eversley,
a big opportunity.
Run under the Posey straightaway, and Cox is trying to go with him.
That is your battle for 3rd overall, 3rd in Pro. As they are actually for 4th, they are right up trying to close back up on the number 9 of Vincent Abril, but Abril has been able to maintain that 2-second gap back to these 3, but these 3, it doesn't get any closer or more fierce than this.
Barnicoat there in that McLaren just turning into the uphill. He holds down the 3rd position right now, but Abril is feeling the heat from these Acuras, Greg.
This has to be just an amazing shot in the arm for the real-time team that have worked so diligently to get these cars working here and working well, and I think they have found the equation.
I can't help but think about Andrew Palmer, who was part of that Bentley squad here last year when he had that injury in the morning warm-up, and our thoughts are with you, Andrew, and your whole family. Want to see you back in the paddock, mate.
Absolutely, and enjoying watching this number 4, 4th place Bentley, the number 88. The question is, 2.5 minutes left in this one, and around this place, that's 4 laps.
Can he hang on? I tell you what, the Acura is just carving the corners, Greg. It has looked really strong here this weekend.
Now that 75 Nissan that's right up in front of them sits 2nd right now in the Pro-Am category, and it has a fair amount of pace here in the hands of Frank Montecalvo. So I don't think it's really going to be holding them up a little bit, but if they actually catch it, that's going to be the problem.
Another strong run from the A Motorsport group with that Nissan. Sanchez has been a revelation as well, Greg. A lot of pace from that young man who started the race today.
And one of the most recent GT Academy winners. Been doing a really, really strong job. Looking here to see what kind of, well, that margin now from Barnicoat back to Abril has been trimmed by almost half a second.
Just the traffic there, you can see it. The 75 car is not making life easy for the 88.
Oh, you can just see the 88 there, the front end just giving up a little bit as it was tracking out of that corner.
I think this is where you'll get a little bit of frustration within the paddock, is when there's a car that's not really battling for position, like the 75 is really not in a battle for position right now. You should let these other guys go at it a little bit rather than defending the move from the Bentley.
Speaking of which, the team was advised for the 88 Bentley that some of his moves are kind of looking like they're in response to looks from that Acura, and that is verboten.
You can't respond, you got to be proactive, and you're not allowed to move again. You don't like the double move.
And getting confirmation that white flag will come out for the number 4 of Spencer Pumbelli next lap, Cal. Ooh.
Eversley here, can he do anything? Can he sneak ahead of that Bentley? Sitting in the same spot they finished yesterday, fifth. Look at Eversley putting the pressure on the Bentley. He wants a little bit more.
On that time, the Nissan definitely did actually hold up Abril just a smidge, and Eversley sensing some opportunity here.
He's had great pace. Has been stymied a little bit. I think he's quicker than the Bentley in clean air. Seen his teammate latch onto this battle. I think that's because Ryan is slow. It's just that the Bentley may be a few tenths off the pace of the Acuras here.
And we say the number 75 Nissan isn't holding up Avril at all, but when you're stuck in the wash behind that car and you need air on the nose, it definitely slows you up. That was why I think the front end gave up at that one point. White flag now out. We are on our last lap, or will be in short order here. Yep, here we go on our final lap. Number 4, Spencer Pumpelli, carefully but smoothly carving through traffic in the number 4 Magnus Audi. What a story this will be. Down the hill he comes, through the diving turn, onto the front straight, making the run down the Sam Posey straight. Audi and Magnus Racing win it at Lime Rock in a race of superb racecraft by the drivers, execution by the crew. But this battle is by no means done yet here for 4th. One more corner to go. What's going to happen, Cal?
Well, the Bentley holds it down right now. He's got the full spot. The 2 Acuras trying to put the pressure on the 2 teammates. They head to the line.
Not quite enough. Abril able to find just enough to open up about a car length margin and brings it home. So it is the number 4 Audi in front of the number 8 Cadillac. Michael Cooper bringing it across the line after Jordan Taylor started it. Then the number 9, Ben Barnicoat, taking over for Alvaro Parent, and the Capex McLaren completes your podium, and Vincent Abril holds on for that 4th spot over the 2 Acuras. What a great story there. Winning in Pro-Am, Mike Shine and Jan Halen in the Wright Motorsports Porsche. We'll be right back to hear from our winners, flesh out the rest of the stories here at Lime Rock Park.
The Pirelli World Challenge on CBS Sports Network is sponsored by Motor Trend On Demand. Visit MotorTrendOnDemand.com. Start your free trial today. And by TireRack.com, revolutionizing tire buying since 1979.
Welcome back, everybody, and it's pastry time here at Lime Rock Park. When Spencer Pumpelli wins, he's sort of taken over from some of the legendary donut guys like, oh, I don't know, Zanardi and Kendall, and he does them so well you can't even see the car anymore. And that's tough to do when you got traction control.
Yeah, and it is, and it's tough to do at Lime Rock to find the space. He basically didn't come into pit lane, went down to Big Bend there and found that runoff area to celebrate.
Now heading down into pit lane. Wow, what a great day for this team. You can see how much this meant. Obviously, Cal Magnus Racing deciding to join this championship, decided to step in full-time here. Just fabulous what's been unfolding here. So some great stuff, and as we take a look at that, let's get back down to the pits and Jeff Lepper.
Well, down here with our Pro-Am race winners, Michael Shine, Jan Halen. And Michael, what a superb drive. You're able to get around Tim Pappas there for the win.
Yeah, great race. Jan drove like an animal first stint. I think each lap he came by, it was one position forward. I only had to pass one car, and I'm happy we got it done.
Were you able to stay out of trouble there at the beginning on, but great time turning it over to your co-driver?
Yeah, it was just a fun race. Porsche and Bright Motorsports gave us a good car, and it makes the job a lot easier. So, good race, good points race. Happy for the team, and looking forward to the next one.
Well, there you go. He's in here all year with Michael Shine here trying to get that Pro-Am championship, guys.
And I think Mike's very happy that he's got Jan Halen alongside for the season.
Yeah, he's so strong, and the Wright Motorsports cars, 3 wins out of 4, and who knows what could have happened if Lieb could have survived that first lap run down into Big Bend.
And having a look there is obviously waiting for Spencer to get the opportunity to head back over, and hopefully we'll have Jeff waiting for him. And boy, I'll tell you, what a drive by Dane. That in lap was spectacular, and then Spencer got behind the wheel. And that move in traffic when he sensed that little opening, cut hard left, shot through, that was a race winner.
Yeah, he really had the heat from Michael Cooper there for a little bit in terms of dealing with that traffic, but he did it like a pro, and he'll be pumped up for this one. This is big.
Absolutely it is, and as he steps up, Jeff Lepper's waiting for him.
Well, Spencer Pompelli, Dane Cameron comes in. Great drive. Had to do a little bit of donuts, a little showmanship, but that was great for you, Dane. We'll get to you here right away, and superb drive from you, especially staying out of that trouble at the beginning.
Yeah, I don't know what happened on the start, but it got pretty wild there. So we settled into second, and I thought we had a really good car in the long run. And it was just trying to find that right moment to make the jump to get around the 8 there. So I knew we had a good chance, either Spencer late in the run or in traffic, or we really started catching up in the pit window. So I thought if we can do something different than them, we'll go past them. And luckily they stopped 1 lap before us, and that was the difference to get Spencer out in front, and then it was smooth sailing from there.
Yeah, you talk about smooth sailing, some good donuts down there too as well, Spencer, but congratulations on your race win.
Thanks. The fans here have been awesome this weekend, and I want to give them a little bit of show because they certainly been very supportive of us, and this place is great. I love coming to Lime Rock. Dane Subs did an awesome job, got us right up to the front there, and it was a matter of getting on and off pit road and having a great car, and these guys did it. So thanks to everyone. Looking forward to heading home and seeing the kids.
How bad was the traffic there? How did you have to manage that here near the end?
Good question. I actually got tagged by one of the Lambos going into one at the end, and probably squeezed him because there was that debris in one, but I thought we might have cut a tire, and heart was racing quickly there for a couple laps, but sure enough, it was okay, and these guys built a strong car, so got to the end, and man, this is exciting. I'm really happy we won this and got that first win out of the way, and I know Pat wanted to have another battle like we did yesterday, but I guess when Pat's away, the cat will play or something like that.
Who knows there, but great job by Magnus Racing getting their first win in Pirelli World Challenge.
Yeah, and just one that I think really showed what this team is capable of from the drivers, but also top of the box as we take a look at the top 10 right now. And we've talked about all of that, but I think we really need to give some serious props up to the Acuras.
Yeah, that was a fantastic day for them. 2 cars in the top 6, following up on a top 5 yesterday, so that was really a big improvement, and big day for Michael Cooper. He would have loved that victory, but I tell you what, he is moving up in the overall standings, putting a lot of pressure on Pat Long, and he and Jordan Taylor lead the SprintX comfortably.
You saw back in 9th, Dial and Murad in the number 2, the orange Mercedes. Had not been for that contact up near at the start of the race, who knows? That was a good fight back through the field to get there. Let's take a look now at our Pro-Am results. And speaking of fight, I love what Shine said, was that Jan was driving like an animal, and I only had to pass one car. He got it done, and then ended up with a nice margin.
Yeah, he really did. Superb run for Michael and Jan Halen. Montecalvo and Sanchez, that's a good run for that Nissan in second spot. And Bleekemolen, good opening stint. Tim Pappas got roughed up a little bit, but holds on for another podium.
And the other Magnus car finishing in 4th, so a pretty good weekend for the Magnus team, doing a nice job. And as always, this series has some highly valued specialty awards. Let's start with one of the best, the Motul Fast Lap Award. Here's a look at all of the fast laps of all of the classes in the SprintX category. Led, of course, in the Pro class by the number 8 Cadillac ATS-VR, Michael Cooper and Jordan Taylor, with a very strong 52.270 second lap, an average speed here of well over 100 miles an hour. And now let's move to our GT Cup category, where the fast lap set, what a return for them to the championship with the Ferrari Challenge Evo from Precision Driving. Marco Radisek and Danny Close putting together a strong lap there at a 53.108. And in our GTS category, another fast lap for the number 017 Case It Racing Porsche of Adam Merzon and Trent Hindman, a 57.485 second lap. Now let's take a look at our VP Racing Fuels Hard Charger Award. boy, did they earn it. The number 93 Real-Time Racing Acura NSX GT3 of Peter Cox and Mark Wilkins moving up 6 places during the course of the race today, so congratulations to them. They're certainly on form here. And our Cadillac ATSV Move of the Race Award, it had to be the move that that team pulled off in terms of strategy, Cal, to take the lead with a great pit stop.
Well, they kept the number 4 car out there 1 lap longer. Dane Cameron had a clear lap, and he put together a mega in-lap, and that was enough. And they cut it really tight in that pit lane delta. It's enough to grab the lead, and Spencer hung on.
Yeah, spectacular race to be sure. And with that, let's take a quick look at the points in the various categories. And in the SprintX class for the Pro cars, boy, what a weekend in terms of points for Cooper and Taylor.
Yeah, they're having a great run right now. They're a great combination. They're going to be tough to beat in the SprintX Championship, and another big weekend for Michael Cooper overall as well, with Pat Long problems today.
And it's going to be fierce. Now, of course, SprintX takes a break in their championship run. We take a little break, about 3 weeks here, and when we get back to it, an amazing track, Road America, Elkhart Lake, Wisconsin, and back to the sprint format.
Yeah, and I know there's a lot of boys going to be like that. Johnny O is not really a big fan of sharing his race car, so he'll have it all to himself again. He's got a rebound in the championship. It's game on. Everyone's got to reset and go for it. Road America, one of the best circuits we run on.
Well, this is a track here that has really tested the bull ring approach for these guys. Road America, they stretch their legs extraordinaire, and make sure you join us for our coverage here on CBS Sports Network. Well, that's going to wrap up our coverage here from an absolutely intense and short weekend of racing at the short track at Lime Rock Park. Thanks for joining us. For Calvin and Jeff and our entire CBS Sports Network crew, I'm Greg Creamer in association with WC Vision. This has been a presentation of CBS Sports Network, the 24-hour home of CBS Sports.